Thank you for joining us again, and we can get started with our questions. So, before I start asking questions, the members here, everyone who's attending right here can ask their own questions in the chat or unmute and ask their questions. And in the end, after I ask my set questions, I'll read off your questions in the last 10 to 15 minutes. So let's get started with the first question. So during your applications, what do you feel was the strongest part of your application? Anyone can go.
Honestly, for me, I'd say it's just the overall work of like the classes I took and the GPA. I think it's just hard to, the application is pretty standard. So it's just your essays and the classes you've taken. So it's not really like you can like hack it or anything. So yeah, I'd say the classes I took and my essays in terms of like, I wanted to make sure my essays matched my application. I didn't want my essays to be a one-off. So I wanted to explain everything. If I had any bad grades, I would explain that in the application. I would have, I would make sure your essays work together. Like I had one essay where I was a little more creative with my writing. And then I had one essay which was just like explaining, my journey and stuff like that in a little more less creative way. So that's how I'd say I'd make sure my application, everything kind of worked together in one piece.
I would say my strongest part, aside from like GPA and stuff, I think like my extracurriculars and how I tied that in with like my own interests and personal life. And I also like got really like personal about my application. I just really tried to show like the human like part of me, and I did have like weaknesses and like downsides to myself, honestly, but Sai said, like you can explain that in your essays, and it's not always like it's like end of the game is like bad thing. You can turn like bad things like that, bad grades, something that happened in your life, something positive. And I would say like don't be afraid to like get personal about your essay. And like I tried to like pull things from different parts of my life, like from when I was younger, things I did at my time at Anza, and things like that, because they don't like there's no interviews, so you really are just like another person and like a number to them, and like that. So you have to like really like open up, don't be afraid to open up so that they can see you as like a person. And I feel like in that way it just becomes easier to like write about yourself and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your responses. One question, when did you start writing your essays? Did you write it in the summer, or did you write it like a month earlier or like 2 weeks earlier before the application?
Yeah, so I started my essays, I want to say late August. And I just really had a rough draft. I'd say my beginning essays looked nothing like my end, mostly because I had multiple people reading them and I kind of pulled all the feedback. I'd say one strong advice I'd have with your essays, make sure you have someone from, Anza, who's like maybe an English teacher of yours, or if you have a strong relationship with a counselor. That's what I did. I make sure I'd make them read the essays, because sometimes you're reading an essay so long, you don't really realize some small mistakes that you have, whether it's grammatical or it's just the way you're writing something. So.
I started mine around the same time, late August, early October, and I plan to start in the summer and stuff, so I can turn it in early and not think about it anymore. But of course, that didn't happen. A lot of it was like planning out and like brainstorming, like brain dumping, because like you do have all your ideas like in your head. It's just a matter of like how you're gonna put it all together and stuff. And yeah, I had like a lot of people read mine because yeah, you think that you might like they might see things that you didn't see before, and it's nice to have like different people read it, like a friend, family member. So it's like people who actually know you, and also people from like professional perspective, like a counselor or an English professor, like someone from the English department, so that they can like nitpick or pick out things from like different things, like whether it's like the grammar, the sentence structure, the content, how to word things better, and things like that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Wow, you guys kind of started a bit early. Um, anyways, call me out, but so let's move on to the next question. So how many schools do you think people should ideally apply for?
Yeah, I'll go first then. Honestly, I think you should apply to as many as you can afford, because I think to me, it was kind of like a numbers game. I had no idea what a lot of these schools were looking for, so, and I know they read their applications pretty fast, so I wanted to apply as many as I could. So I applied to all the UCs, and I applied to some privates actually. So if you can, and also one thing you want to balance is not to overwork your essays. So the good thing about UC is you have one set of essays, so that you're already set there. But the privates is a little tougher because they all have their own essays that you have to write. So if you make sure your essay quality doesn't go down, or you're not overworking yourself and your grades aren't going down, then I'd apply to as many as you possibly can, just to guarantee you have some options.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Have like some variety, like CSUs, private, UCs, like safety schools, your dream schools, breach schools. It's always nice to have like that option. Like my cousin told me when I was like talking to her about it, she was like, you can just like take a chance and apply to whatever you can, as many as possible, because in the end it's like better to have options, and so you can pick from them rather than the other way around, because then I guarantee like you will be super stressed out and it will be like harder to go from there. And they do like give like waivers and stuff, so I would say like use that to your advantage and stuff.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. And tying back to that question, how many schools did you apply to and which one were they? Because I know Sai is a CS major right now at UCLA, and Scarlet is a nursing major at UCLA. So how many schools and which schools did you apply to for? And did you apply as a different major for those schools?
That's a good question. Actually, for CS, it's kind of tough because the acceptance rates, and a lot of people play the acceptance rate game, so they kind of apply to similar majors to CS just so they have a better chance of getting in. I actually didn't go that route. I just applied to CS for everything. So I applied to all the UCs. I applied to SJSU and Cal Poly School, and I applied to USC. So those are all the schools I applied to.
I applied to like most of the UCs, some CSUs, and one private school. For nursing, it's very competitive and very like they don't accept a lot of people. Like there's only two UCs with nursing majors, which is UCLA and UCI, which I applied to. And I also applied to like the other UCs like UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, and like most of the other ones, but I did it under, if I remember correctly, like some biology major just as a backup. And I applied to like the CSU, like SJSU, San Diego State, and I'm forgetting the other ones, under nursing major, and also University of San Francisco as a nursing major too. And yeah, I did not really, I should have applied to more nursing schools, but I just really was very unsure at the moment, and I relied like on the other UCs as like my personal backup plan. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to see how you got into an UCLA with the majors that you wanted. So let's move on to the next question, which is after transferring, um, if you if any of you did any research or internships right now, how easy was it to get into these opportunities as a transfer student?
Yeah, I'd say it's hard for me to answer that because I've only been at UCLA for a month and a half. I'll say this, the internship and research support for CS is incredible. You start from summer, so you immediately have, they actually give you some course refreshers, and they also give you hackathon experience immediately just for transfers. So they make sure that you're caught up in everything. They have 24/7 resume support. You can always submit your resume, get it reviewed. I'm taking a class right now called engineering internship. So you basically go through your resume, elevator pitches, and you take that as a credit course. So you can apply to jobs as a part of your, as part of your unit count. And you get a lot of industry people coming in. So almost every week, the CS people will send a newsletter saying, "Hey, we have a career fair this week," or we have,
Oh,
it's really good experience, and there's a lot of good connections that you can make. I'm sorry, I think I'm a little unstable right now for internet, but yeah.
I'm currently, I've only been here for like a month and a half also, so it's hard to say. I did try emailing some professors over the summer to try to get a head start. But it was like cold email, so I did not get a reply back. I am like still looking for research right now. I talked to like my faculty mentor and like the student affairs counselor about it. So I'm still in the process of it. And well, they said that you can like take this SRP 99 class, like the research class for it, and then you'll be like, I believe, paired with like one of the faculty for, like for their research and stuff. But I didn't want to like use it like a class like that because I am like working on a minor. So they told me like you have to like reach out to them and stuff, which I'm still going to try to do. So it's like it's easier if you like actually know them, and like if you had like class with them before, but since I been here for like short amount of time, it's a little bit harder like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. So I didn't talk about research. So any CS professors you have, I'm going through this right now. They'll during your lecture, they'll tell you if you want to do research with me, you can just email me. So one thing she said is if you take a class with them, it's a lot easier to build a connection. They'll see your face a lot. I know personally that one of my transfer. Yeah.
oh, sorry. Could you repeat that because it was cut in
Yeah,
the
yeah. So I already know. So I'm saying that if you stick around in your lectures as a CS student, the professor will usually again recognize your face. And if you're interested, you can always just go up to them and ask them about research. And I know personally, a couple of people who've already been successful in starting to work with professors for research.
Thank you for those good responses. Let's move on to the next question. What is your least favorite thing about your transfer university and your favorite thing so far? Because I know you've only been here for like a month or like at least a month. But right off the bat, what's the first thing that comes in your head when I ask you the least favorite thing and your favorite thing? Anyone can go.
Okay. Okay, you can go.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay. Least favorite, I'd say, is the cost. It's LA is expensive in general. So if you want to ever, I live in an apartment, and going apartment hunting is pretty hard with the prices here. And I'd say the second least favorite thing is it's the way you sign for courses is pretty strict and regimented. So that's good in some ways, but it also means that the classes outside of your major, it's a little harder to get. So I'd say those are two things.
Oh, sorry. You're frozen. You were frozen. But okay, now you're unfrozen.
Yeah, yeah, no, I finished after that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have to agree with like the cost. My least favorite stuff, I cannot think of anything from the top of my head, but I will agree the cost is like a big least favorite thing. There are like scholarships and like your FAFSA, financial aid and all, but just transferring from like community college to a UC, I just did not realize like actually how much more expensive and things that you had to pay for. Like I didn't realize it. And also with like the course sign up and all, it was honestly way easier signing up for courses at De Anza because like there's so much less people and I just so was not used to it here. And like with their terminology of like first pass, which is like the first group of people who can register for classes, and like second pass, like everyone else after that. Um, for nursing, like your whole time here is like already planned out for you. It's a very specific sequence of classes that you can take. Some of them are already are like offered only once a year, so you literally don't have a choice. And like also because like with your clinicals and stuff, it's in that specific timing, so you can't change it at all. And right now, since I'm a transfer, it's like a 3-year program. So this first year right now for me is like I have some free space, which is why I'm doing a minor. And for those classes that for my non-nursing classes, I actually had to sign up for, it was very stressful for me because by the time like it was my turn to sign up, a lot of the classes were already full, and it was a game of later on it was a game of like keep checking back and stuff, which is something like I normally did not have to do. And yeah, and a favorite thing of mine is that for like the nursing department, there's a lot of like help and resources for you. There are like mentorships, like transfer mentorships in general for like anyone who's interested, but there is also like mentorship stuff for nursing students specifically. And there's like they pair you up with a faculty mentor, so someone who's actually like a professor at the School of Nursing to guide you with your classes and course planning and any other questions you have, as well as someone from like upperclassmen pair you up. And I know within like the nursing clubs, one of them is doing a mentorship thing as well. And yeah, there's like a lot of people there to help you and support you.
That sounds, yeah, that sounds amazing. Scarlett, you mentioned that you're taking a minor. What are you minoring in? And Sai, if you are also minoring in anything, can you let us know too?
I'm planning to minor in global health because I'm like interested in that stuff, like what's going on in other countries, disease prevention and all that. And yeah, it's like also a little bit general enough for me to like do different things with it because I'm not totally set on like what specialty or like ultimate career route I want to go down in the future.
Yes, I don't have a minor, but as a CS major, they require you to take a technical breadth course, which is kind of like a kind of like a minor. So for that, I'm taking management courses, so business courses.
Oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. So let's move on to the next question. What was it like adjusting to your transfer university, and how much of adjustment was it like socially, geographically, and academically? How was that jump from De Anza to UCLA? Because I know UCLA has a different environment than De Anza, and in many ways, like socially, geographically, and academically.
I guess I can go first. Hopefully my internet doesn't interrupt me, but I'd say academically, It's weird. I wouldn't say the assignments are that much harder than the hardest classes I took at the Anza. It's just a nonstop flow of work. So, for example, at the Anza, if I really wanted to finish a week early, I would finish everything by Monday, Tuesday, and then I could have the rest of the week off. But here I cannot do that because I'd have like an essay. For example, I just had an essay due that was due on Wednesday, a 10-page essay. And then I have to start the first draft again in 1.5 weeks of another 10-page essay, right? And that's all, both of those are graded. And that's just one of my classes. And all the classes are like that. It's like a nonstop snowball effect. So if you miss one thing, you're in a lot of trouble. But I wouldn't say the course material is that much harder than like a physics class at the Anza or something like that.
Geographically and all, it's like totally been fine. Academically and all, I would say that it's like not too much different, except the biggest thing to me is like the amount of reading that they require and expect you to do. At the end of the day, like lay it out for you like in the lecture, like that's what you're going to be tested on and all. But here it's like, at least for like my classes, like the reading and all is like fair game, and it's way more reading than like I would like actually put in time for, and it takes up a lot of my time because it's just like a lot of pages, and for each of them it's like for almost all of my classes too, and I just think it's kind of time consuming because a lot of it is you don't know if it's going to be on the exam, if you're going to be tested on it or not. And for some of my classes, I had like some papers and a group project coming up, but they didn't say anything about it in class, which made me super confused. And I know like they outline a few in the syllabus and all, but it's like they already expected you to know. And yeah, I otherwise like wouldn't know if like one of my friends like mentioned something about it. And it was like for two of my classes, and that was just a little bit of an annoying part, but I guess you have to like look ahead at your like schedule and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for your answers. It sounds like UCLA and Anza seems a bit different, but not different at the same time. I don't know. But in let's move on to the next question. In what ways did your university help you integrate into the student body as a transfer student? Because I know you mentioned you had a lot of transfer resources. So do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So, immediately after you get accepted, you get a whole bunch of emails about, transfer training. For example, immediately, I'd say about 2 weeks or 3 weeks after I get accepted, we have something called course refreshers for the CS department, which is all the lower division courses. They give you a 3-week, 4-week course refresher over the summer. That way you're not behind when you actually take UCLA courses, because you are kind of behind as a transfer. You're not taking UCLA courses, and they want to make sure that you're up to par in all the material that you know. Also, as I mentioned, there's a hackathon. So that's just for something for your resume. So they have a hackathon just for transfers in UCLA. They give you actually a 2-week period where you learn about hackathon skills, and then you do the hackathon later, and you can win prizes as a part of the hackathon as well. And then lastly, we have a lot of support from mentors. So for example, like she said, we have a professor advisor. So I have one as well in the CS department. I also have a senior mentor at UCLA who's a senior and was also my major. And I also have a academic advisor in the School of Engineering. So I have 3 people I can go to whenever I have trouble in my classes or trouble in an assignment or something. And then there's always TA support. So overall, I'd say it's one of the most transfer friendly universities. I think a large percent of the student body here are transfers, so they're almost forced to look out for transfers.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, there's like the general transfer mentorship program for like anyone in the transfer community who's interested. And I actually got like 2 mentors from that, and they are upperclassmen, like nursing majors. And yeah, within like the School of Nursing itself, like I do have a faculty mentor and 2 other mentors, from one from the School of Nursing who's like a student like me, and she is also happened to be like a transfer student, and also another one from one of the nursing clubs. So I have like a lot of people to ask for help from, that they provide me with. Like one of them, she literally gave me like her old textbooks like a month ago, so I literally didn't have to look for like PDFs online or like buy one. And they have like a transfer specific dorm building if you choose to live in the dorms. For example, like I live in the transfer building right now, and it's like super friendly, and so it's like everyone you meet is a transfer who's in the same boat as you, if you just want to be really close and with the transfer community. And yeah, that's what I would have to say about it.
It sounds like UCLA is a really transfer-friendly school. My question is, how welcoming were your peers? Like people who've been at UCLA since day one, and other people there, like faculty members.
Yes. So the one thing I say is one event that I'd say really like showed me how welcoming UCLA, the freshmen who've been here for a while are of transfers is, we have an engineering transfer meetup at the beginning of the quarter, and all the major clubs, engineering clubs, all their presidents were there. And these presidents aren't transfers at all. And you could tell by how they were speaking, they really wanted to make sure that we were welcome, and also they wanted to join us to join their clubs. So I'd say that, there's no label like you're a transfer, I'm not. Once you're in class, it's basically the same thing. No one really knows. And all the clubs are very welcoming. I mean, the president of the ACM was the one who spoke to us, and he's been here since he was a freshman, and he's gotten a lot of internships at Fangs and all that. And he wasn't like speaking down on transfers at all. He really wanted to make sure that he was very approachable. He gave us his email if you wanted to email him or message him to join ACM. So I'd say, there's no disparity in terms of how transfers are treated, and people who've been here for a while are treated.
Yeah, sometimes you would just start talking to people at like the dining hall lines, or at some club event, and then people ask you like, oh, where'd you come from? You transfer tradition, or if you're traditional, and they're super open about you being a transfer, and they ask like, oh, that's so cool, where did you transfer from? And it's like nothing that's like a culture shock to them. They're super open about it, and they're really like interested. And in the nursing community, like the Central Nursing Club, like nursing students at UCLA, they hosted like this mini club fair for like nursing students specifically. And so like all the nursing clubs, like for example, like Men in Nursing, Global Action in Nursing, they like showcase what their club does, and how you can join and everything. And they're like really willing to talk to you whether you're a transfer or like an underclassman. And yeah, they like tell you about like, oh, their experiences, oh, what classes are you taking right now, and then they share like what they went through, what not to do, what to do, what to watch out for, and like what's coming ahead in like your later years.
Yeah, it sounds like UCLA is really welcoming according to your responses. And my question to that, your responses, was it super easy to make friends because of that welcoming environment?
Yeah, I'd say, there's I mean, it's what you put in. So if you're outgoing and you're gonna make friends with anyone, transfers or not. I'd say also in terms of, making group projects, I'm in a couple classes where you have to form groups to work on some projects and stuff. There's never like, are you a transfer or not? It's just, whatever, you can sign up with whatever you want or whoever you want. Everyone's pretty open. Everyone at the end of the day just wants to pass their class. So there's no blocks in between that. So there's no barriers of being a transfer in terms of being social. I guess if you're a little more introverted, it could be harder. But I'd say it's not because you're a transfer, it's because, maybe you're a little more introverted, but.
Yeah, I'm personally more introverted, but I have been like trying to put myself out there more, and it is true. It's like you have to like sometimes reach out to other people too, because it's like can't be like totally one-sided, but being in like the transfer building, it's really nice because it's like a great conversation starter, like, oh, where did you come from and stuff. And if you really want to get integrated into like the transfer community, it's just a super convenient way to like meet others who are like you. And especially like when you like first move in and stuff, and everyone literally just gets here and nobody knows each other. Like you literally just say hi, hello, and then you start a conversation, and then you like exchange socials, and then next thing you know, like you're eating lunch together and stuff. And yeah, it's like anywhere you go, and even like in class, and like when you go like to club events and stuff, it's really nice to just randomly say hi to someone, and then yeah, you just start talking to them, and then find out that, oh, you were from the same area or something, and then you like get talking.
It sounds really nice. So let's move on to the next question. What is something that you think international students should know? Because the Anza has a lot of international students, and we were wondering if you could share some things that maybe you have international friends or international transfer students. Anything, advice for them, if you have any?
Yeah, I don't have much, honestly. I'm not an international student, but I know UCLA is pretty stringent on the aid they give to international students, so I'd be wary of that. And also, as a CS major, I know that there's a lot of restrictions in terms of visas for getting jobs here. So I'd always I'd make sure that you look at the details of the job you're taking and the visas that you need to obtain. So.
Yeah, I do not know personally that many international students, but you do have to like double check your visas. That's the biggest thing, because they can there may be like certain cases where they could probably take it away. If I remember correctly, it was either with that or like some COVID restriction, but yeah.
Okay, thank you for your responses. And let's move on to the next question, which is, what do you think was the most challenging part of your transfer journey and how did you overcome it? I know you've only been here for like a month, but was there anything challenging so far, if anything?
Yeah, so I'd say, we did the quarter system at Anza, and I think people kind of know it's kind of fast paced. But to me, the greatest comparison to how fast things move at UCLA in terms of midterms, assignments, and everything is like, imagine a summer quarter where you're taking 3 courses, but it's just elongated over, an entire quarter. So, things move really fast. Sometimes there's no, timeline about the materials you learn. For example, I'm in a finance class. We're 3 weeks ahead of schedule, and it's so when you look at your syllabus, we're actually should be in week 8, but we're only in week 5, and the midterm next week is going to cover everything, no matter no matter what the syllabus says, it's what everything we've learned so far. So it's not always as rigid as things are in the Anza. Sometimes whatever you learn is going to be covered on a midterm or an assignment, and that can be tough, especially if you're not used to taking classes at this kind of level. So I'd say it's the hardest, and studying for midterms, I'd say at the Anza, if you study for a midterm, you're basically guaranteed either an A or B. That's definitely not going to be the case here. You could study as hard as you want. Sometimes you're going to get a C. Sometimes you'll get a lower grade and the class is curved or something. So it's just, preparing yourself to make sure that, even if you study hard, you might not get the grade you want. Whereas in the Anza, if you study hard, you're probably going to get the grade you want.
Yeah, even though we moved from like a quarter system to another quarter system, it's like a lot more faster than I thought, and I literally personally can't believe it's already like right now about to week 6, I think, and I feel like I just got here like last week. I think at dance it was like 12 weeks for a quarter, I want to say. Here it's like 10 weeks, so it's really not that far off, but I just don't know why it feels like way faster right now. I know like one of my friends, like he just had his midterm like this past week or like last week, and he has like another one for the same class like on Wednesday, which I was super confused about. So yeah, and it's like a lot of like assigned reading that they give you. For example, one of my classes for a public health class, on top of like the lectures that I have, which is like your basic like hour long, they have like the required material readings, which is some videos, and one of them was like this 27-page paper, and everything's like fair game. And at the same time, like they gave me a study guide. So you would think that everything on the study guide will be what's on the exam, but they said that this study guide is like not a total comprehensive of what's going to be on the exam. There are some things that are not on the study guide that will be on the exam. Some of the stuff on the study guide won't be on the exam. So that made me question what was the purpose of that study guide now? But that was like just one of the examples that made me feel frustrated because I have no idea what to expect. And even at Anza, when they didn't give a study guide, I would just study straight off the lectures, but I would still feel pretty confident that I would like get a good grade. But yeah, it's kind of a big adjustment I've had to make.
You both mentioned about like how fast-paced the quarter system is at a UC. So my question is, do you think that the Anza's quarter system benefited you a bit more than, let's say, if you enrolled in another community college? Because I know there's only like 3 community colleges who have a quarter system and the rest have a semester system. Do you think that the Anza's quarter system benefit you a bit more, or like any?
Yeah, I definitely think it benefited me at least a little, because I mean, in the end, I was also kind of keeping track of the weeks, so I knew when midterms were going to be around. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I'd say, yeah, like I said, summer was the biggest similarity in terms of the workload and how fast things are. So yeah, if you took a summer course or you took multiple courses during the summer, that's how that I think is what prepared me the most. So
I think a quarter system definitely benefited me because like I formed like some study habits and like expectations from like what to expect out of a quarter system. And I know now that I'm always like looking ahead at the following week or like planning my study schedule ahead of time and knowing what's coming and not like taking like a fat break or anything. And I think that if I came from like a semester system, I would totally been like hit hard with like the quarter system because I thought Danza was like a good pace, but it's like just a little bit faster here. So it definitely helped me a lot.
So I'm gonna ask one more question, and then it's gonna be open to Q&A with everyone else. So I'm gonna take a step back and ask about your journey at the Anza. So what's something you wish you had done differently while you were at the Anza? And you can mention like if you had any mentors who told you this, or if you didn't have anyone you knew at the Anza and you were just really confused and wish you did something differently. What do you wish you did something differently at the Anza?
Yeah, I'd say I was at the end, I was just hyper focused on transferring and, getting the GPA and extracurriculars. So maybe I didn't do as much, other clubs outside of my subject area. I wish I'd done a little more of that. But honestly, I think my time at the end was great. I built some good habits, and I think I met a lot of good teachers and students, classmates. So I wouldn't say there's too much I wish I had done.
I have like a few things I wish I had done. I wish, like Sai said, I was really focused on transferring and like all that, especially at my second year there. And all I did was like um work and school and like clubs and stuff, and it was really, really stressful, and especially during like the college app season. So I really wish in maybe like my first year, maybe I wish I did some stuff that actually genuinely interest me, like for fun, like I don't know, join photography club or something like that. Just like meet new people out of like genuine interest, not just to like uh, build connections. Can I refer to you for homework advice and stuff? Because you do need to like take that balance and stuff. And yeah, I wish I did some more leisure things. Um, and I would also regret like not meeting with like a counselor as soon as I got there, maybe just to like plan ahead rather than do it later. Just so like you have no surprises down the line. Um I really relied on my counselor to like make sure that I was taking the right classes, because I actually initially had like the wrong classes in my class planner. I didn't sign up for them or anything, thank God, but I don't know what I would have done if I like didn't do that. Um, and it also helps like build that connection early with your counselor, because I feel like in that way it's easier to build a connection with a faculty there, because like you go there, like you make an appointment with them like on your own time, and then you can meet with them consistently, and then like as you meet with them more, like they'll remember you, and then you share things about yourself and get to know each other on a personal level. And they can edit your essays, and they could give you like a letter of rec, um because and stuff. I wish I talked to my professors more too. So in that way it was in that way it was like harder, because I needed two letter of recs for this to apply to the School of Nursing, apart from the UC PIQs. And I actually started talking to my counselor like a little bit late, so that added on to the stress. And yeah, it helps to like just start talking to your professor by just asking questions in like office hours and stuff. But I was like reluctant to do that. So by the time that I decided maybe I should do that, it was like really late for me, and I had to like find out other ways to do that.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on that. So I applied to USC, and they also asked for two recs, and I got lucky because I was a TA for one of my teachers for like 3 quarters. So I knew her pretty well, and I know she gave me a really strong letter of rec. So one advice I'd say is if you have the opportunity, try to try to do well in a class, and then make it out of that, become a TA in that class. And then if you're strong enough, you can use that to as your advantage for a letter of rec down the road.
It helps if you have like a number of connections to like not like maybe have one letter of rec from a counselor and you have another one from like a professor, so you have some variety. I know some places, some schools like may want that variety. For example, UCLA recommended to have like a letter of rec from like a supervisor or something, like from your work if you were working like at a hospital or something. But I had a letter of rec from 2 counselors, which wasn't ideal for me. I didn't want that, but I had no choice but to do that. um and that kind of worried me, but it's nice to have like that variety, so it's like, oh, this student is like in good connection with their professors, with their counselors, and yeah.
Uh, Thank you for your responses. And what I wanted to know is, did you do any like extracurriculars in at the Anza and at UCLA right now? I know you mentioned a few like extracurriculars as in like clubs, working like jobs, any other commitments outside of school, basically. And can you specify?
So I was, yeah, so at the Anza, I was the teaching assistant for a couple courses in CS department. And I was also a full-time paid tutor at the CS lab at the Anza. And I also was I was in the Melon Scholar program, which I think also was, I think that helped me a lot because as a CS major, you don't want to be labeled as just completely focused on CS. And if you do an activity outside of your comfort zone, I think that helped me not just in my application, but just learning wise. I learned to be a better reader, better listener, and like better presenter. So I would highly advise you guys to do something outside of your major as an extracurricular. At UCLA, I'm an ACM. I'm not like an officer or anything, but I attend meetings and we have AI training, and ACM's total goal is to just improve technological training for everyone. So I'm taking up a couple classes and some courses that interest me.
At De Anza, I was PR for the Medical Outreach Association and Health and Medical Sciences Club, and also part of Ability at De Anza, which was like the disability club. I was also a mentor for a quarter for mentors at De Anza, actually. And I also worked part-time at a nursing home. So I was like doing a lot at the time, but it was only because I like packed it on for the second year and didn't do anything like the first year. Now at UCLA, I'm not working at the moment. It's a little bit harder because I don't have a car and I'm really trying to not take a car, and it's just I'm just enjoying my time like not working part-time also. I'm also part of like the different nursing clubs, like Pediatric Interest Club, the Critical Care Nursing Club, like just as a member, to like just find out my interests and explore and stuff. There's also the Asian American and Pacific Islander Nursing Club, and like the general nursing students at UCLA, because they like do some volunteer work and socials for like the nursing students, and like for example the Pediatric Interest Club, they like go to the one of the hospitals, and on the peds unit they like take time and like play with the kids there, and sometimes they have like guest speakers and things like that. So I just wanted to explore my interests that way. And I'm also those are just like the interest clubs that I'm just a general member for. So like attendance is not mandatory for all of them. You just go like when you have the time. And I'm a mentor for the Women and Youth Supporting Each Other Club, which is like a female-led club to like mentor middle school girls about like feminism, puberty, mental health, and things like that. And it's been really fun so far. It's only been about 2 or so weeks that it's been like we've been actually going to like to middle school and stuff, and it's been really nice like meet new people there. And yeah.
Wow, it sounds like you were very active, both of you. Um, and my question is, at De Anza and UCLA, how did you balance your extracurriculars and academics? Because it sounds like you're doing a lot, and like those are kind of heavy load stuff. And how has that changed ever since you um, attended UCLA?
Yeah, so at De Anza, what I actually did was I took a quarter and I just took classes just to see how the workload would be. And then after that, and after I knew how much work I would have to put in every week, I started to take clubs. So I kind of did experimentation. I'm kind of doing the same thing at UCLA. I'm not really doing many clubs. Like I said, I'm really only doing ACM here right now. And I want to make sure that, you know, my GPA is good the first quarter. They actually advise you to, in the engineering school, to, you know, focus on your grades the first quarter here. And then after that, to join some student organizations. So it's just, you know, making sure how much work you have. And then after that, finding how much free time you have, joining clubs. Also, you want to be interested in these clubs because you don't want to, you know, just waste your time doing nothing.
I mostly just like relied on planning ahead of time and setting like a very specific schedule for myself when I was at De Anza, and making sure that I didn't totally overwork myself, and making sure that I take like at least like a day off, because you don't want to like burn yourself out way too early. And I made sure to like put school first though, because like you don't want your GPA to drop, and it is an important thing. And I try to like set like a specific amount of time for like each study time or extracurricular, especially just so like I had time for everything. And yeah, kind of a similar thing I'm doing right now. I'm like kind of chilling this quarter a bit and just being like a general member for like this first year too. And I just wanted to see like how the course load would be like right now first quarter, which is just like one of the reasons why I decided to not work this quarter also. And I wanted to like get a better idea of like how I'm managing myself.
Yeah, thank you for those responses. So we have a question in the chat. I am taking psychology classes at De Anza. I am going to transfer to SJSU. If I move to LA, can I enroll at UCLA? I forget, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this question is asking if I transfer to SJSU, can I transfer from a CSU to a UCLA? I believe.
I don't think there's anything stopping you, but I think there's, you know, I think there's a limit, there's an upper limit of the amount of units you can have to transfer. So I'd be wary of that to make sure you don't have too many units, because I don't think you can transfer after that. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything stopping. I think there are some people who transfer from CSUs to UCs. Yeah.
Yeah, there's even like some people who transfer from UC, from another UC to like here UCLA. So it is like a personal choice, and there really is like nothing stopping you.
Okay, yeah. And my question here is, this is my question. Scarlett, you mentioned that you don't have a car at UCLA, but and since you're in the nursing program, you would probably need a car in your third year to travel to clinicals, right?
Yeah, that's right. I personally am afraid to drive here because I'm not that great of a driver myself. So yeah, that fear is just what's stopping me. But I will start like clinicals next year. So which is why I just decided not to take a car yet, and I didn't want to like worry about like car management stuff. Yeah, you can't always like carpool with like your other cohort people. But it's always like nice to like know like you have your own ride and you can like do it yourself rather than relying on other people.
And building onto that question, Sai, do you have a car? And if not, then this is a question to both of you. How has traveling been in UCLA? Like, how do you travel to places? Do you carpool? Do you use public transportation? Um, do you walk to places?
Yeah, so yeah, this should probably go under my pros for UCLA is that everything's here. You know, Westwood's a really nice place in LA. LA is a kind of a weird city where you can have areas, you know, move a couple blocks and the areas change subtly. But I'd say, you know, being in Westwood, it's a very nice area. I've walked in the nights a lot and I feel completely safe. I'm a guy though, so you know, it could completely change for the other genders. But I feel completely safe walking in at night. I think it's a very safe area in general. It's a college community. I'd say another really good pro is the number of stores here. We have Trader Joe's on campus. We have Whole Foods on campus, which is pretty rare for a college community to have both of those places. Lots of restaurants here. So anything you want to eat, it's always there. I mean, I always, after class, like you can go wait in line. There's also a really good community of, I mean, the walks from classes are pretty easy. I always have, you know, I have a class at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock on Friday. And at first I thought I wouldn't be able to make the 2 o'clock class, but it took me about 5 minutes. Really, I mean, you can walk from any point on campus to another in about 10 to 12 minutes. So it's kind of a huge campus, but it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, I've mostly been like walking and taking the bus. If it's like somewhere in Westwood, it's like a 20 or so minute walk from the hill, like where the dorms are. So I personally like don't mind walking that. I enjoy the walk. There's also like the electric scooters, they call it like the Bird, and it's basically, yeah, you just pay like however, I'm not exactly sure how it works, I've never ridden one personally, but you just like pay however much like the distance or like where you're going, and then you just ride it. There's a lot of people riding those, and you can use that. The bus also, I've taken it a couple of times. I think it's completely fine. I think some of the buses, they're actually free also, so that's nice. And the fare is like $1, so beats an Uber, in my personal opinion.
I'll also say one thing is that UCLA is on a big hill, so a lot of the places are inclined. So you might need to you know, train yourself in a gym or something before you come here, because it can be hard sometimes to walk.
Yes, thank you. The incline. Um, so we have a question in the chat for Scarlet. What benefits does a UC have over a CSU for nursing as of right now?
I will go ahead and just say that I did not have much of a choice of where I wanted to go, because I got rejected from a lot of the nursing schools. So please keep that in mind. I don't want to like say that I completely chose like a UC over a CSU and saying that it's like better. Yeah, I chose here because I personally wanted to do like research and stuff and have more opportunities like that, and like for down the line, for like the nurse practitioner or anesthesia route. And when you transfer here to the nursing program, it is 3 years as opposed to like the 2 years you would have to spend at a CSU. I know a lot of people might like have that as a pro or con in mind, but I personally did not mind that. And ultimately, I would say it does not matter because they do give you the same BSN degree. So it is like a matter of like personal choice. Yeah.
Thank you. And if anyone has any like major specific questions, just put in the chat. Reminder, Scarlet is a nursing major and Sai is a computer science major. So yeah, my question for you both is, what made you choose UCLA if you're accepted into multiple schools, if you had the option to?
Yeah, so for me, UCLA was always kind of a top choice for me because I had a really strong CS department. I wanted to get a job in the industry. I um, had really good connections to the industry here in LA and in the Bay Area. And also, I think it had a really good, I was, like I said, I was in the Mellon Scholar program, so I liked the arts and the humanities, and UCLA is, generally really strong in other areas as well. So I wanted to take classes outside of just engineering or CS, and I thought, that here would be the best place. I also really liked the location. Los Angeles, I actually visited before I got accepted to UCLA, and I really liked the overall vibe of the place. So, those are the places. And I was really lucky to get into every place. So honestly, anywhere I would have gone, I would have been grateful. I don't think there's too many downsides from CSU or UC or UCLA. I think a lot of the places is what you make of it. So I wouldn't say like UCLA is so much better than every other place, but I think this was the perfect fit for me in terms of job, location, and social aspects.
Yeah, I knew that I personally wanted to move away from home and be out of like the Bay Area. I just wanted like a change of scenery. Not that it's like bad, but I wanted to be like more independent, like away from home. And I do like the weather in SoCal better, even though it's been weirdly cold for like last week. Um, but yeah, I wanted like that change of scenery and also like the School of Nursing here. I thought that they were like very like engaging and supportive of their students with that like mentorship and stuff. And I did like their simulation labs have like very like real life like the patient dolls I have to like work with and stuff. And I liked like the different organizations that they had here. It's a like a very small community within a bigger community itself. So that appealed to like my introverted side a little bit, as well as like me wanting to meet new people at the same time. And yeah, there was like the Global Action in Nursing, which before COVID they did like went out of the country to do like nurse work there, and you would be like helping underprivileged areas like with their health and stuff, which is something that I wanted to do in the future. So I thought that would be a great opportunity. However, like as of right now, like of course with COVID, it's like not happening, but they would give us like updates later on. But yeah.
That sounds cool. And my question to you is, how did you choose your major? Because I know, Sai, you said you were interested in humanities and arts and humanities. Like, why did you choose CS over that? And Scarlett, what made you choose nursing instead of like biology? Because I know you said you applied to multiple UCs as a backup for biology. But yeah, anyone can go first.
Yeah, so I mean, I was actually a CS major before I took so before I became interested in humanities, and I'd say I was heavily influenced by every the Bay Area is mostly tech places, so yeah, I got, pretty easily influenced by that kind of stuff. I also really liked the CS classes I took, not just in high school, but at the Anza. So I knew once I took those classes, I wanted to continue. And then as a TA, teaching, I guess it kind of forces you to know if you like a subject or not, because you're doing it for hours. So I knew as a TA and as a tutor, I wanted to become, a CS major. So yeah, I never really wavered from it. I think as a CS major, you're really lucky because there's so many majors you can choose for each college. For example, at UCLA, you can do math of computation major, which is somewhat similar to a CS major, but it's not. You can also do cognitive science, and it's not exactly a CS major, but you're going to take CS classes. So you kind of have an option to choose what major you want to apply to, not just in UCLA, UCSD, and UCI has a lot of different CS combination majors. So I think once you choose to become a CS major at Anza, you should explore what you want to do in terms of other classes, whether you're interested in math, statistics, psychology, neural networks, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I always knew that I wanted to be in healthcare when I was younger. Like physics and math and all was just too hard and like did not appeal to me. And I just found like the bio side to be like more interesting and like just made sense to me more. But I definitely did not want to do like an MD or DO route because that's a huge time commitment. And it's like I did not want to be in school for like that long, and I was afraid that I would change my mind later down the road, like, oh, maybe like this isn't what I wanted. So I decided to pursue nursing because you still get to like help people and like take care of them in like bio aspect, but it also gives you a lot of opportunity to further your career. And like you can switch specialties like if you want to, like maybe you work in med surg or you're labor and delivery and you decide later on you want to be in like oncology or pediatrics, like you're able to do that. And maybe if you want to like climb up the ladder a bit, you can become like nurse practitioner, go into anesthesia, become an educator. And it really gives you like a free reign of choice, which is what I really liked. And like the schooling for it is like way shorter too. And I wanted to be like out and like graduated and working as soon as possible, just like give myself and like my parents that ease of that, like, okay, she's like good for her rest of her life if she wanted to. So it just worked out for me in that way. And I did like bio and stuff as like my alternate major, or that major at the other UCs, because my backup plan was maybe I would graduate with a bio major or a physiological science major, like that, and then maybe I could become a PA. So that was like my backup plan, but even then it just didn't sit right with me, and I was afraid that maybe I would change my mind again, and maybe PA is not what I want to do. But nursing just gave me like that, oh, you can switch tracks if you wanted to.
Yeah, thanks for your responses. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sai, but for computer science, there's like a bunch of like things you can do with it, right? Do you know what specifically you want to do?
Yeah, so I mean, the cliche answer would be machine learning because that's just the hot thing in CS right now. But for me, it's big data. So hope no one's scared, but like, the biggest tool you have in computer science is you get a lot of influx of data on users or on people. And hopefully you can use that in an ethical way to help, better society, or, whether you work in a company. It's kind of hard to say exactly, because I'm just gonna. It depends on the company you're working. So what you're doing is going to be company dependent, but hopefully in an ethical way to use data to figure out something cool about how we behave and how to use it to increase efficiency in something in a company or something. Yeah. Also, I just want to say one thing. So I know a lot of people are applying, and you're going to get decisions back February to I think it's April, May. Yeah, okay, April, May, June, depending on what privacy you apply to. So the decisions you get for one school have no effect on the decisions you get in other schools. That was a hard thing for me to accept. In that, maybe in a school you thought you was like a safety school, you get denied or waitlisted. It has no bearing on like a later school where you thought, oh, well, now I have no chance because I didn't get into this school. Because some schools see different things in your application. They look for certain things. Maybe your GPA is high enough, but they didn't like your essays as much. Maybe you had a really good course load, but you didn't take as many English classes as they liked or something like that. And sometimes it's just that the Anza has really bad articulation to their university. So if they accepted you, you'd graduate in like 3 or 4 years instead of 2. So don't stress out too much about a place that you thought you should have got into or you got waitlisted in.
Yeah, thanks for your answer. And we have a question in the chat. Do you guys have any suggestions on the PIQs for UCs? And I want to add on to this question. Did you write about anything like really creative, like about oatmeal or something? Because there was one transfer panelist who wrote about oatmeal and connecting it to math. But yeah, do you have any suggestions for that PIQ questions or anything like that?
Yeah, so the first PIQ question, I think it says, why did you choose your major? And what have you done to, better yourself, to train yourself for that major? For that one, I went pretty straightforward. I didn't say I wouldn't listed everything, but I kind of wrote in an essay form in like a regular English class. These are the things I've done. These are the classes I've done. These are, in a better way than that, obviously. The other ones, I wanted to be a little more creative to show my own voice. So for example, I think it says, what's like a passion of yours and how did you explore it? I talked about why I like music and why I liked music because it's so much different than CS. So I differentiated music and CS in a way and talked about why I liked both, even though they're completely different. In the end, I actually talked about their similarities to tie them together. So you should always, I think you should do a creative version and a non-creative version of an essay. I actually did that for almost all my essays. I wrote a creative version and a non-creative version of each essay and see which one I liked more. And then I submitted that one for each question.
Yeah, I just started off by literally writing down the points I wanted to include for each essay, like just a bunch of bullet points, just like get an idea out and get the thoughts going and stuff, and eventually put that into words. One advice that someone told me, like this one professional essay writer for like the UC essays, she said to like carry around a notebook with you. So any random creative idea that you had, like you would just jot it down. So I did that like mentally in my head. And then one day I just, I smelled like hand sanitizer, and that alcohol smell just reminded me of when I was younger. And then it just hit me like, oh, that could be like a good opener. So that was actually for like my required question of why do you choose your major and stuff. I opened my question with like, I've had an obsession with alcohol since I was young, as like a misleading type statement. But I was talking about like isopropyl alcohol because my dad would, I used to play monkey bars when I was a kid when I was younger a lot. So I get a lot of like blisters and stuff, and he would rub that. So that got me interested in how like bio works and stuff. So literally the most randomest ideas will come to you at random moments. So yeah. And yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment right now. And maybe like try like write the skeleton of your essay, like however you can, like it is called a rough draft for a reason, and you are able to like embellish it later on, and those creative ideas will come out at some point at later on, which you can like add on.
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you. It looks like you both had like oatmeal essays. Like I was so surprised. Oh my gosh. I think we have one time for one more question. Someone asked in the chat, would you please talk more specifically about the workload in UCLA? Is it hard to catch on compared to the Anza?
Yeah, I'd say you hit the ground running almost immediately. You have a week 0, which is maybe like 2 to 3 days of you start on a Thursday and you don't really do much, but then the week right after you're starting immediately on assignments. You have lectures, you have quizzes for certain classes already. So you start the ground running, and then it just keeps snowballing. Your assignments might get harder. You might have multiple assignments for a same class due in the same week, and obviously you have midterms in between. So yeah, it's definitely harder in the end, I'd say, by a decent margin.
Yeah, like there's no time for let's introduce ourselves. Here's the syllabus, here's what we're gonna go over. They don't really talk about that. We just dive straight in, and all of a sudden it's midterm season and you just don't realize where the time has gone.
Yeah, okay, so I feel like that's all we have for today. But when we go back in the main room, there's going to be a slide with each of the panelists who are comfortable with sharing their contact information. And we included their emails. So if you have any specific questions for them, just email them. And yeah, everyone say thank you to Scarlet and Saayujh for coming in today to talk about UCLA and their transfer journey with us. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, let me ask. Okay. So yeah, I believe we'll go leave the meeting in a bit. But in the meantime, oh yeah, the breakout rooms are closing right now. So once again, once we go in the main room, there'll be contact information up in the screen. So yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you everyone for coming.